We've got 10 o'clock news coming up soon. It is time to talk technology. Mathew Dickerson, a good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Nick. Great to talk technology again.
Great to chat to you. This is an interesting one because if you had told me that instant cameras, I guess Polaroids for want of a better way of putting them, were going to make a comeback in the health space, I would have been very sceptical that this was possible.
And rightly so, Nick, rightly so. I mean, I can remember the old Polaroids at school, kids at school. I was never lucky enough to have one, but they were fascinating. You know, someone took a photo, they waved it around for a minute or two, and there was the photo. How cool was that? Of course, now it's irrelevant. You just take the photo, look on your digital camera, and there it all is on your phone or whatever it might be. But in the health profession at the moment, because people are wearing face masks, and sometimes if you go into somewhere that's actually a COVID-19 ward, people are completely covered. And so the patients are actually feeling a little bit uneasy about not being able to see the person that's treating them. They're putting a lot of faith and confidence in a mask, effectively. So medical staff, both doctors and nurses, are starting to get to the point now where they're taking photos on an instant camera, printing it out straight away, obviously from the camera, and actually sticking it on themselves. And some manufacturers are actually donating, as part of their COVID-19 response, donating a huge number of cameras to various health facilities so that they've got those cameras on hand. Take the snapshot of yourself before you put all the equipment on, stick it on the outside, so at least people have some idea of the person that supposedly is behind the mask. I'm sure there's a bit of switching that goes on there, but I like the idea where it is taking that old school technology and bring it to the 21st century and actually using it in a practical way.
Yeah, look, it's incredibly inventive to use it this way, but I think also a bit shocking that there are still companies making instant cameras. I was genuinely surprised.
Well, they did make a little bit of a comeback, and I hate to admit it, but two of my daughters have actually got one of these cameras, and they basically take the photos, and they're a bit better than the old Polaroids, but they've got in their rooms, both of them have got all these photos stuck up on these little tiny low quality photos, and I'm saying just use your digital phone and print them out on a decent printer, but it's just that sort of tactile feel of taking the photo and printing it out, and there it is on the spot. So you're right, it is a bit of a comeback from very old school technology, and the sad part about it is you mentioned Polaroid. Polaroid, of course, went broke because they missed the whole digital revolution. Now you've got other companies coming along using effectively the same technology.
Yeah, look, a little heartbreaking for poor old Polaroid. Let's stay with the photo topic. Group selfies, everyone in together, everyone struggling to angle the phone the right way. We kind of thought they were going to be, I guess, a thing of the past thanks to COVID-19, but maybe some new technology will make them happen again. Yeah,
there's just been a patent granted for a group selfie technology, and they actually applied for this patent about 2 years ago, so way before COVID-19 came along. And it was all to do with getting the picture just right, or adding in a friend that wasn't there. So you're out for 3 or 4 of us at dinner and we take a photo. Oh, wait up, Nick isn't here tonight. Oh, Nick, send me your photo. We'll add it into the selfie photo and everyone will think that you were here having a great time with us as well. But you're right. Now with COVID-19, obviously, it's a bit different. So the technology's there, the patent's been approved. So you could be in the studio. I could be sitting at home in my little mini home, a very rough studio that I've made up to get through this COVID-19. And we could have Nick Lowther come and join in from wherever he is at the moment. And we put all those together and then we make it look like we've got basically a group selfie. And the technology is relatively simple in that it's basically taking the outline of the person and allowing it to have no background and then put into another background. The big thing though, Nick, with this, I think, is the trust in the one person that you give the responsibility of putting that all together. So we all send our photos to you and say, Nick, be kind to us, and then we have to live with a selfie that we end up with at the end of it.
And there could be a lot of cruelty involved with that. Look, totally different topic. Renewable resources, can they help Australia's economy recover?
Look, I think they can, and it's just not me saying this. This is Ernst & Young saying this as well. Now, let me just put a little bit of an asterisk next to it. The report was actually commissioned by the WWF, so they've probably got a slight angle on trying to make sure that renewables come out on top. But we do hear the Australian government talk about we might have a gas-fired recovery, or there might be some other way of recovering. But basically they went through and looked at 6 focus areas and said that we think, or this Ernst & Young report thinks, that you could have a renewable fired recovery by looking at a few key things, I suppose, in terms of that. And so renewables are obviously a big part of that, and there's a few particular ones that we look at. So if we looked at, for example, manufacturing, and if we started to get some manufacturing happening there, we might be able to generate, according to this report, 22,000 jobs. But if we were a battery manufacturer, they might inject $500 million into that and generate 7,800 jobs. Making all the buses electric, $240 million might be the cost for that, but might generate 10,000 jobs. The one I really like, though, because we've got a little bit of this happening around here, subsidies for communities to generate some solar farms themselves. They estimated a cost here of $500 million, but generate 5,000 jobs for that. Now, again, we've got some renewable energy around here. We've got wind farms down at Badangara. We've got solar farms happening in Wellington and out at Nevertire and Nyngan. So we've got some of that happening already, but imagine some community organisations building some of that. And the last one that I thought was quite good was hydrogen industry. I think there's going to be huge potential for hydrogen. Electric cars are going to be very strong over the next 10 years, but over the next 15 to 20, I think hydrogen will be really important. Again, $225 million invested in that might generate 1,200 jobs. So I think the good part is we're looking at different ways of getting back into a strong economy and seeing if we can do something about the environment along the way.
And look, the battery one particularly interesting. We do already dig up a lot of lithium, especially in WA. There's always been a lot of talk about making that downstreaming happening as well and becoming a manufacturer. Mathew Dickerson, sadly, we're going to have to leave it there. We'll talk again soon.
My pleasure. Thanks, Nick.